Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic. Hello and welcome to Jyllandsringen in Denmark for the final round of Sunoco Special Saloons 2013. There are several issues still to be decided, and one of these is the overall championship, where the points table looks like this. Martin Vedel leads by 24 points with Christian Siepmann in second place, with Hans Hartmann third, and last year's champion Jørgen Hansen in fourth place. Now let's talk to two of the drivers.
I'm in a pretty good position right now, so I had to drive safe but also get some points, so I'm the winner after this day.
As it is now, he's 14 points in front of us, but we will change that very soon here at 1 o'clock at the first race.
Michael, you thought your season was over, but now you're born again. What happened?
I was ready to throw in the towel yesterday. I couldn't make it do right on the track, but luckily my mechanics had a different opinion, and they told me to relax, and they have been working all night, and here we are ready to go.
So your plan for today?
I'm going to win it all.
Krista took our lap record with 200 of tenths. There was nothing, but our plans for today is of course to take the lap record back.
I've been here 3 times with this car. Every time it's had something gone wrong. So finally now everything seems to work, so I hope I can still be number one to the end.
It's race time, 22 to the start, and Krista Gislerud and Klaus Christensen are on the front row of the grid. And it's Gislerud and the Stealth that's first into the bend, and they all appear to be safely away. Now here's the start again from Siepmann's BMW. Achieving what he wanted, and that's staying out of trouble and moving into third place in front of Jørgen Hansen. The Stealth and the Aquila pulling away from the chasing pack. Then it's Siepmann, Hansen, Graversen, Klostermann and Overgaard. Martin Vedel tucked in behind his arch rival Hans Hartmann, and if it stays that way, he'll be well on his way to claiming the overall title as they work their way round to the new part of the track. Krista Gislerud set a new lap record yesterday for Jyllandsringen, 1:07.147, and the person he took it from is right behind. And you can be sure he'll be doing everything he can to get it back. Vedel allowing Hartmann to accelerate away, but traffic ahead means they bunch up again. So after one, it's Gislerud, Christensen and Siepmann, who've established a useful lead from Hansen, Graversen and Klostermann. 23-year-old Krista, enjoying life at the moment, told me he moved into a new bachelor apartment in Oslo. So things are sweet at the moment. Siepmann in his own little pocket, no threat from behind, and not fast enough to catch those in front. Klaus staying with the Stealth, but he's getting warning lights from his dashboard, which he hopes is just a technical glitch. This time last year, Martin was in a good position in the championships when his engine burnt out. But yesterday, he made sure of his class championship, and today he's after the overall title. Andreas Kjærgaard in his trusty Scotty GT, he plans to have the same car but with a turbo next year. He's followed by Jonas Sejersen in a Toyota Supra. Now this is the 16-year-old Mikael Overgaard. He will definitely be one to watch next year. He's certainly made significant improvements this year. He's got to know and is comfortable with the new Porsche he got in the summer. And now he's closing on Mikael Klostermann. Krista is still leading in the Stealth. Klaus is shadowing him and letting him know that he's got company. And further back, the Scotty has the close attention of Jonas Syersen, with Hartmann waiting to pounce if he sees an opening. The Stealth and the Aquila extending their lead at the front, and there are many close battles going on not far behind. Vedel is also playing a waiting game. If he stays where he is, it's good enough for him without risking the chance of losing the overall championship. As he sees Hartmann move past the Scotty, but I think he'll have to wait until later when they get to the long straight. On board with Mikael Overgaard, he's now in 7th place with Klosterman sending smoke signals, but still taking Graversen. However, not enough space for Mikael to squeeze through. The Stealth still leading the Aquila at the front on this, the longest of the 3 circuits that Sunoco Special Saloons use in Denmark. It was extended 10 years ago and now has a length of 2,300 meters as Klaus clips the corner there. Padborg Park is 150 meters shorter at 2150 and Ring Djursland is 1,750. Klosterman fitted new brakes to his BMW for this weekend, and in yesterday's practice he spun off and retired from the first race because of the brake problems, and he was headed home. But his previous head mechanic, Peter Rasmussen, and Peter now works for Seatman, he told him to stop, and he checked out the car, then he made changes, and now Klosterman is in 5th place today, and he's still in with a chance of taking his class championship. I asked Mikael how he would best describe his driving style, and he said, well, aggressive braking. And there we see an example of it. On board with Mikael Overgaard, shadowing Graversen and waiting for a chance to nip through as they approach the long straight. Graversen accelerating away. He had problems with the belt to his water pump in his first race, but that problem seems to be fixed. As they brake, Overgaard closes up and then loses ground when the Fiat opens up. Overgaard not letting up. He's aiming to move up the order. The question is, when and where does he make his challenge? Oh, 2 into 1 doesn't go. Bjarne Mortensen and Niels Christiansen dicing on the corner as the Aquila takes the Stealth at the end of the straight. But there's traffic ahead, so they both need to be careful. Oh, and it looks like Christiansen is retiring, maybe as a result of the clash with Mortensen. Mortensen was very sick yesterday, but is back to his perky self today. And Klaus will be a lot happier now. He's passed Christer in the Stealth, and there's more traffic ahead. Preben Grunvik in the Ferrari is not having a good race. A blue warning light is flashing intermittently, and he doesn't know what the problem is. Could be one of the sensors is on the blink, but he's taking it easy. But his 3rd place in this class is under threat from Mikael Overgaard, as Grunvik goes wide to allow the leaders through. Now here's the battle going on for 4th to 7th place, bunching up at the bends. Klaus and Christer, and then Christian Weibu's yellow BMW, which is in 3rd place, but Mortensen and Christiansen are just a few points behind, so he needs a good weekend. And Klaus in the Aquila is having one of those. Despite the warning lights in his car, he's ahead of the Stealth, and that's about all he can do. Hansen 4th, Klosterman 5th, Graversen trying to force his way through on the inside, but Klosterman closing the door, and he continues onto the centre green. And that is over and out for Johannes Graversen. On board with Overgaard, and that's what Klosterman's aggressive braking looks like from behind. Overgaard now in 6th place and biding his time. Hansen knows the right line to take to make it very difficult for the others to pass. I asked him his plans for 2014 and he said, same as this year. And he'll be determined to regain the overall crown which he's lost. Klosterman touching the brakes lightly again. And he knows that if he finishes this race and the next and sets fastest time, he will win the class by 2 or 3 points. But he needs to finish. And finding himself in the middle of a Porsche sandwich is flattering, and he knows he can match them for speed as well. And now Overgaard is making a move, pulling alongside. The bend is coming and forcing Klosterman to take the outside, which he does, and he retains 4th place. Wow, high-speed driving at its absolute best. Let's see it again. Overgaard on the curb and Klosterman beating him to the second bend. And it's still Hansen, Klosterman 5th and Overgaard 6th. Here's Christian Siepman. He tells me he'd like to do 2 races in Holland at Assens and would love to drive at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Well, it's always nice to have a wish list. As the Aquila takes Martin Vettel's Corsa, Martin has won Class 2 and is well on his way to taking the overall championship. As we rejoin the battle for 5th place, goodness me, Overgaard trying to take Klosterman and getting curbed again, kissing Klosterman in the process and giving him a nasty moment. Jonas Syersen is about to have company. His engine is 6 years old and he plans to replace it for next year. As the Aquila moves past, as they reach the long straight again. I think Overgaard has the principle of, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again and again and again. Christer in the Stealth has now passed Syersen and can continue to trail the Aquila. Hansen is still 4th. Then it's Klosterman and Overgaard. And I wonder if Klosterman's little moment earlier in the race will have given him time to think. Is it better to try and hold on to 5th place in this race and risk going out, or finish 6th and 7th and win the class championship? Overgaard making another move, this time on the outside, foot down, don't spare the horses, and that takes the 16-year-old into 5th place. Klosterman deciding that discretion is the best form of valour and lets the youngster through, so that Jørn Hansen can have the pleasure of his company. Klosterman now in 6th place, but still leading in his class, and now he knows how fierce the competition is in the class he hopes to join next year. Overgaard planning his next move, with 36-year-old Mosquer slowing slightly in his BMW, and Klosterman cruising his way through the rest of the race. Hansen knowing exactly what he needs to do to retain 4th place. Accelerating away on the straight. The second oldest driver in the field, holding a masterclass for the youngest. And I guess Jørn Hansen, he must be kicking himself for failing to score any points at all the last time they were here at Jyllandsringen for the Grand Prix. That was when just about anything that could go wrong did go wrong, and he lost any chance of retaining his overall title, or in fact finishing in the top 3. He was very down after that as they move round to enter the newest part of the track. And the 2 leaders are hot on their heels as they come round to lap them. 250 is the red Renault of 18-year-old Fredrik Mortensen, who's been junior touring car racing in Sweden this year, but has had bad back problems, but now he's fit again. Torbjørn Nielsen taking the wide outside to let the leaders through, and making their way round to the checkered flag in this penultimate race of the season. Lots of fine racing, and another victory to Klaus Christensen in the Aquila, with Christer Gislerud taking 2nd spot and Christian Siepman 3rd in his BMW, as we check out the official results. Hansen is 4th, Overgaard 5th, and Rennie Rasmussen taking 6th in his Ferrari ahead of Mikkel Klostermann and Jonas Syersen. We'll take a break now and be back with the final race of the year after the break. And it's race time again and a rolling start for Sunoco Special Saloons. The Aquila had pole with Stealth second, and that's the way it turned out after the first 2 bends. Siepman's BMW is 3rd, Mikkel Klostermann 4th, Mikkel Overgaard 5th, and Jørn Hansen 6th. As we go on board with Siepman safely in 3rd. So same positions as in the first race today. The only change is further down the order, with Klostermann leading Graversen and Overgaard. In these opening laps, Klaus is determined to recapture his lap record, which the Stealth took from him yesterday. And with an open and dry track ahead of him, he has optimum conditions. He really enjoys the rivalry with Krista, and I'm sure it will give him that little edge as he tries to lay it down. Siepman doing what he can to win the overall title, but it's out of his hands. He needs Martin Vettel to retire to have any chance at all, and he's been safety itself this weekend. After the leading 2, it's Siepman, Klostermann, Graversen, Hansen and Overgaard. And further down, Hartmann leading Vettel and hoping he's got the right tyre pressure, because in the first race he got it wrong. Martin's game plan was to win his class championship on Saturday and then tie up the overall championship today. And he's just a few laps away from doing just that. Vettel moving inside behind Syersen. And then out again, planning his next move. He can see Hartmann's passed, and now it's his turn. Oh, it's a nice little tussle, this. When asked Martin about his plans for next year, he said, same as this year. And then with a twinkle in his eye, he said, maybe another car in the GT class. Now that would be really interesting. Back with the leaders, who are extending their lead at the front. And further down, Hartmann has his hands full with a very aggressive Vettel. Goodness me. Snapping at his exhaust. I know that Hartmann was a little concerned about his tyres. We'll see if they can hold out the distance. One thing is, he's sure of second place in his class behind Vettel and third place in the overall championship. I'm sure he regrets that he didn't get his engine from England earlier in the season, because this has made him really competitive since the Grand Prix. As they come round to complete another lap. On board with Mikkel Klostermann, who never seems to get flustered. And back at the front, there's a new lap record. Gislerud set a time of 1:07.147 yesterday, and now Christensen has posted 1:07.049. So the record is back in Danish hands, and with tailenders ahead of them, I guess that record will stand till next year. So that will have delighted the Aquila driver. Siepman on his own in third place, which will really please the 55 sponsors he's invited here for the day. Klostermann in fourth place. Goodness me, Graversen taking a tour in the sand trap, and I guess we can put that down to a driver error. What a way to end the season. And he will retire after that, because the powers that be don't like sand being deposited all over the track. And everyone will have to be careful when they reach that area, because the sand will make it very, very slippery. Back with Klostermann, who says to Overgaard, I can see you and you ain't coming through this time. Certainly makes for an interesting life. And I'm sure Klosterman would appreciate a pair of eyes in the back of his head right now. I wonder if the students at Struer Estates Gymnasium know what Overgaard gets up to at weekends. Well, I think they should be proud of him as he continues to crowd Klosterman. He really does want that 4th place. And Klosterman must be thinking, when is he going to make another move? Could be now, could be later, could be when the smoke clears. Johan Hansen ahead of Rennie Rasmussen in the Ferrari. He was building another car along with his son Joachim when it caught fire at a test. And now the summer project will become the winter project for them. Back with the battle for 4th place, Overgaard outside being forced really wide, but he'll have the inside with the next turn, and that's the way to 4th place overall. Wow. Really tight, exciting racing, and that's what it's all about. And it was Klaus Christensen who made it 3 wins out of 3 for the weekend and led Krista Gislerud round to the checkered flag. As we see the result for the top 10. Christensen, Gislerud and Siepman filling the top 3 places, with Overgaard, Klosterman, Hansen, Rasmussen and Vedel taking the rest. But once you get behind the wheel, you're a different person, aren't you?
Yeah, something goes terribly wrong every time I get my helmet on. I don't know what happens. But of course I enjoy the race. I want to race to win. And then all tactics and everything, I can't remember anything.
You said you wanted to make sure that you didn't damage the car.
Well, I didn't. And I didn't try to either. But I didn't save anything. I went all I could. I couldn't make it any faster than I did today.
But it was a really good scrap with Overgaard.
Yeah, we had some coming together the whole weekend actually. He saw how I overtake Johannes Graversen at the previous heat, and he thought, well, then he could do it on me in this heat, and he managed. So congratulations for that. It was a good overtaking maneuver.
Well, he's only 16, so he's learning quickly.
Yeah, that's not too good. Yeah, he's a clever young man, and he has a nice car. Of course, he has ABS. I wish an ABS for my car in Christmas. Perhaps I will get it. But yeah, he's doing well. It's nice to have him in the championship.
What does it feel like to be called a star of the future?
Oof. I don't know. We are learning quick, so it's getting better and better.
In the overall championship, Martin Vedel took the title by 7 points from Christian Siepman, with Hans Hartmann third.
I decided this time that I was either going to win or I will end up in the gravel. It was win or lose. So I gave it everything I have, and yeah, I succeeded.
Well, that's it from the Sunoco Special Saloons for 2013. We've seen some exciting racing from the 3 main tracks in Denmark and from Rudskogen in Norway. And next year, it promises to be even better. So until then, this is Roger England saying hope you've enjoyed the season, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye. Sunoco Special Saloons is brought to you by HP Electronic.